And does he have a mask?
Oh, that sounds good. Ooh.
Insecure. Well, but is that his skills? Oh, that's interesting. When I did this city council volunteer as a sibling, my team was Bill, and I said, "Do you guys ever team together?"
Well, that's
Oh
what
no,
we
no, no.
represent.
You're yes, we team together.
We're going to be a team.
How are you? If I could call this unruly room to order, it would be great. All right, while you find a cookie and a place to sit, we will move forward. Thank you all for coming to the October meeting. We don't have the Slido logo on the screen, but at your tables, there should be the QR code. I don't have one to show you. So if you could scan in, please, and we take attendance. Thank you, Cynthia. That would be appreciated. All right. We would like to have a motion to approve the agenda for this meeting as well as the minutes of the last meeting, the September meeting. Would there be a motion? Thank you, Bob. So, okay. That's why you should sit in front all the time. These are the motion makers and approvers. Thank you. All right, that's approved. Well, all in favor? Okay. Guess I should observe the order. All right. We have a quick introduction from our Park and Rec Director, Nick. Welcome back. Yes, you just approved them.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to take a quick moment. Again, my name is Nick Gonzalez. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation. I just wanted, thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to introduce our new Special Events Manager, Jose Correa. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to him to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. As Nick mentioned, my name is Jose Correa. I am the new special event manager here for the city of Palm Springs. I have about 13 plus years of experience in the recreation field with an emphasis in special events for the last about 6 years. So I'm really excited to jump right in and get to work with the community and get to know all of you a little bit better. And I thank you all for the warm welcome so far, and I'm really looking forward to my time here. Thank you.
Thank you. Love the parks. All right. We're going to move on to recognition of any new visitors tonight. I see some new faces. Are you willing to raise your hand? Anybody visiting us for the first time? Yes, sir. What neighborhood? Great, Vista Las Palmas. I don't recognize you.
Yes, Four Seasons, Eddie Ackerman.
Very good. Thank you for coming. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Welcome. Good. All right, thank you. The secretary will get the names. All right. I'm going to delegate that to you. Something that's not on the agenda, but that came to our mind. When you have neighborhood meetings and events and so forth, please let us know. I myself and other board members like to show up and just say hi and thank people. So if you're having an event or a meeting, like an annual meeting or something, if you just let us know, that would be great. We don't need to approve it. We just want to know what's happening and be able to contribute if that's necessary. So thank you very much for that. We usually ask if there's any special issues confronting neighborhoods that we may not have on the agenda, any hot topics for the future you want to talk about, anything burning? Yes.
Thank you. I'm Kathy Litz from El Dorado Palms, and I just want to thank everybody. We are doing a food drive. It's a non-perishable food. I brought a basket today, and I will bring it next month. So if you didn't bring anything today, November would be great. We're donating to Fine Food Bank, so it'd be a month. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you doing that. And then last but not least, the board election again is in December, at the December meeting. The ballot would be presented at the November meeting. And we're still looking for any candidates that want to be on the board. We'll say we'll close at the end of the month on the 31st. So if you let Denise know if you have any interest in that, and then we'll move forward. So thank you for your support there. And that's for any reps or alts in the neighborhoods if they want to be on the board. All right, we're going to have our city leadership report with members of council. I won't choose one. The mayor is here, Councilmember Bernstein. And whoever gets to the microphone first wins.
I'll let him. Hey, I was waiting.
I was being kind.
Here we go.
You want to go first one?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Happy October. So big news that we've been doing in council the last few meetings is the convention center. So we've been talking about it every couple meeting, I think, because it's constantly going on. In September, there was a presentation to council of what is happening. So this is still moving forward with a $100 million renovation and modernization of the convention center, which will include infrastructure. It'll also include incorporating Jackie Lee Houston Plaza, and on the east side, doing some expansion that will then create a better use of the space on the east lawn, which also enables us to do 2 conventions at once. We've done that before, but it always feels like you're coming in from the back side when you do that. And then a lot of updates internally, so make it more feel like a community space, which is what a lot of convention goers want, to make it look a little less 80s-ish, to add tech, so that it appeals to the different types of conferences that are going on, and also to try and do a little bit more so that the spaces can be used a bit better. If you notice, we have big events there, but when you do a gala dinner, they have to completely redo the whole space. So we're looking at things like that, as well as potentially adding some local flair to it. And then we also at council, after the following meeting, we then approved incentives for Oakview. And the main thing to know is that right now our convention center is used about 46% of the time, 46, 48. And our consultants who have worked with hundreds around the country said we really should be at about 60%. So that's the goal for Oakview, to get us to 60%, a lot of which will come during the summer, which really is good for the economy, for keeping people employed. And it's the type of things that are available even in the heat. We've seen the cheerleaders, but there's lots of sporting events, associations, tech events that will take place. So that's the goal. But then the next part of this is the connectivity to downtown. And I think that's something that, I'm most excited about. Tockwitz, Andreas, Amato, and Alejo, creating walkability, shade, art, wayfinding, because that also promotes our local businesses, the residents in that area. And a lot of people like to walk, but it doesn't always feel walkable. And obviously the small business and convention goers. So that's being worked on. Right now, we continue to work on the financing. That will include various options. We're out to bid already for RFQs, request for qualifications, for an owner's rep, which basically acts on the city's behalf so that Scott's staff is not overwhelmed considering all the projects they have going on. And then we have an architect for the building, and then we're going to have somebody going out for the urban design and marketing branding. We're actually going to market and brand that convention center district. Could be 1 or 2 different respondents. That's out now. So this is being fast tracked. We're also potentially looking at a T-bid for restaurants and hotels, and that's out there. Another thing that we did recently, we updated the fees for the city for using everything from renting spaces to permits to everything. And just so people understand how our fees work, we can only cover actual costs. Now, we do include overhead and other things that are built into it. It's an intricate thing, but it's not a profit center. It's a recoupment center for the city. We can reduce fees if we want, but we can't raise them above what our cost is. So we've now did a comprehensive, first in years, on every single fee that you pay for the city. And so you just know that that's how it's done. Some things went down, some things went up, some things haven't been adjusted in 5 years, but it also keeps a stronger budget. And the fees are things that are usually not citywide. They're usually for someone specific. I need a permit for my building. I want to rent a space. I need a business, not something that every resident uses. The other thing that we did, and this was just a presentation, but it happens every year, and it's sort of important to know. The Fine Food Bank comes and gives a presentation about Palm Springs specifics. They brought in 2.3 million pounds of food this last year that the center gives out, DAP, and Well in the Desert, I'm not sure who else, 60 semi-tractor trailer loads of food is what it is equivalent to. They had 90,000 community engagements. 15.9% of our population in Palm Springs is food insecure. So it's kind of a sobering thing to see. It's kind of a sobering thing to hear. So when supporting any kind of food drives, understand that there's a real need in our city. Coming up on City Council, we've got our Economic Development Strategic Plan, which our Economic Development has director has been working on all year to really lay out what our city is doing for the next 5-10 years going forward, and also in the immediate. Obviously, we got tourism, but we're looking at tech, clean energy, arts and culture, healthcare, and how do we do workforce training, which is a perfect timing for this, considering, you know, College of the Desert, if you've seen, progress is very good. We also are looking at updates to our vacation rental ordinance. Right now, things have been working very well for the most part. I think when the last time it was updated in 2022 was obviously post-COVID. There was a huge rush of new rentals. A lot of them have either not rented as much or calmed down. And some people are giving up permits. I think people are starting to realize it's not a huge moneymaker, but we have some people who are good players who have been there for a while, who respect the community, and obviously it adds to our economy. We also had a meeting, I know road diets are a big issue, Racquet Club. We had a meeting on the Racquet Club road diet. Unfortunately, it was scheduled at the same time as the new housing development in Racquet Club West. And so that will come back to council. There's an issue on fire response time, gets slowed a bit. There is an issue, neighbors are very concerned about people going into the neighborhood if there's a lot of traffic. But the average speed on Racquet Club is over 60 miles an hour when we measure it. And I think in the last 4 years, 50 serious accidents. So when you see that, we have to figure out, you know, we can't hurt the fire response time. And so they've looked at what will happen. But ideally, what happens over time is you move some of the traffic off of Racquet Club into other areas that can handle it, not the neighborhood areas. So that will come back to council, and I know there's another coming up as well. We are going to come back, I think, later this year on the new downtown fire station, which is still going through some more input. But there's also a lot happening in our city, which is really good. We broke ground on the new pickleball complex at Demuth Park. We broke ground on the new library. This week is the grand opening of the Aloe Palm Springs Senior Affordable Housing on Palm Canyon. We reopened the downtown police substation. I don't know if people have seen it. It's been there the whole time, but we haven't really activated it. And as a local business owner, this is like something that will be great. It'll be great for users of the park. And it's sort of like another, not full-time, but part-time service window that could be opened up more. Let's see what else. And then we have millions of events coming on. You'll hear fundraiser coming on, Modernism Week Fall Preview, IGLTA, which is the International Gay and Lesbian Travel Association Convention coming, the Equality Walk, a lot of Halloween events. The State of the College for College of the Desert will be in Palm Springs on October 30th at the Thompson. So that's kind of exciting. They're very focused on AI and tech, which is great. I think also for their students in to be able to get good jobs and a good future. And then we get into Pride and holidays. So Jose just came in just in the nick and calls of time. So yes. And that's it. Happy to answer any questions.
First one, I want to make a comment on the short-term rental.
Comment on the short-term rentals, okay.
As it gets updated. This is something that's dogged it for a long time. And well-intentioned and well thought out, for the most part, the idea of limiting the percentage of vacation rentals in a neighborhood organization. However, in reality, it doesn't always work out so well. I'll give an example. Upper West Side has 9 HOAs and very small areas that are non-HOA. The HOAs, by their design, all but one, forbid short-term rentals.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you have, and we are the 3rd largest residential address NORG in the city, it gets over-concentrated in these small little areas of our neighborhood where if we have 2,000 addresses, that means 200 short-term rentals are allowed in our neighborhood organization. And that's pretty close to how many houses we have that are not in HOAs.
So how many do you have there now, do you know?
So what's that?
How many vacation rentals?
Well, there's one area called Vintage Palms, which actually was a long time ago, phase one of Miralon, but it's not part of Miralon. And that's a non-HOA area. And what I'm hearing from our neighbors that are in Vintage Palms is a very heavy concentration of vacation rentals in there. And
so this comes up in other areas too,
Yes.
and some of them are capped. I mean, I will tell you what is happening, and we're seeing this from our point of view of the city, is the vacation rentals are the bubble. I shouldn't say the bubble has burst. There's a correction. So we're not getting tons of new permits. We're probably losing more than we're getting. The people who have them are not renting them as much. I'd like to think that they then would sell them to full-time residents or lease them to full-time residents. For a lot of people, these are second homes, and so they'll just remain empty longer. But I think the idea behind the vacation rental ordinance, we went through the first update in 2018 when there was no real code compliance. It was kind of a mess, party houses everywhere, and they came up with a great ordinance. Then we realized other things during COVID when we added another 1,000 homes, and they tried to come up with some density caps. It's a challenge because people have bought homes assuming that they have this right to do it. I think the idea right now, we don't hear a lot of big problems with our vacation rental. I think it has settled down a lot. The idea is that we should update this ordinance every couple of years. I mean, it's not that this is it and then it's staying forever, but we make changes. We look at how the market goes. I would think that if our housing market changes and interest rates drop, a lot of people may end up selling these homes. And so part of it we'll see, but I've heard about that issue before, and I'll look and see what the density is there.
And the good thing is it's an ordinance.
Yeah.
We can adjust it as we find
And that's it.
challenges.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, Mr. Mayor?
I can't believe you left some things for me to talk about. He actually left some things for me to talk about. So first item, save the date on your calendar. December 2nd is the State of the City at the Convention Center. Everything, it's free tickets. You don't have to go and buy a ticket. Everything's open. So we're looking forward to having you all there. 2 o'clock to 4:30, something like that. You'll start seeing those posts, but save it on your calendar now. A couple things on development. The Dream Hotel project, which is everybody's favorite 18-year project, right? You know, I was fortunate to be able to meet with the hotel owner along with our city manager and director of economic development. And we sat across the table and shared with them the concerns that we have on a development that's broken ground 3 times. And you know, they believe that they're great neighborhood partners and they have great relationships with neighborhoods with all their developments. And we let them know straightforward, you know, he has no relationship with this neighborhood, and they've lost all credibility with the neighbors. And we need to see them get engaged and really deliver and show the neighborhood that they're a business that really cares about the neighborhoods and cares about this development. So that was an important message, and we also wanted to reinforce, we want this development to happen. We are going to give every ounce of support and energy we can to see this development come to life. And they needed to hear that. They needed to hear they're going to get the support they need from our city employees, city council, to get this project done. But we also needed to know, where's the money? And we asked to meet with the company that's handling the financing and equity partnerships with them, Rothschild and Company. They had their North American vice president too, were in the meeting with us, and tried to assure us that the funding is in hand. They're just waiting for the developer, like we all are, right? They're just waiting for the developer to finish their value reengineering. So once that value reengineering is done, then they're going to be able to get the construction plans in place and come up with a true final cost of what that construction project is going to be. Once they have that final number, then Rothschild and Company is able to go out to the equity partners and get the money. They've picked up one hotel project this year in North America. It's the Dream Hotel project. So they're overly confident that they have the funding. They feel that they've got a number of entities that are already in line, pledged their funding for this project. And that was a big unknown. We had a lot of questions on, was this money really going to be there? I feel much more comfortable today than I did 2 weeks ago that the project is going to finish. We will stay on top of them on making sure that they're moving forward. They have 60 more days that they feel they will need to finish their value re-engineering or value engineering. They have 200 points that they've been addressing in this value engineering, and they feel 60 more days is all they need, and then they're going to be able to turn it over to their folks and get the final plans in and get those costs out to the financing folks. So that was an important trip for us, and it was important for us to be able to sit across the table and let him know that not only has the neighborhood lost confidence in their company, I personally have lost confidence and credibility standing up for this project, and that we need them to come to the table. And I think we're in a better position today now that we took that visit. Yes.
Ron, I don't have to know where this project is proposed to be. Could you tell us?
It's north of the convention center.
On that front.
Yeah, that project with the beautiful blue fence with construction logos on that side. The other one is the Orchid Tree development, another long-term project. They received a default notice from the city, and that developer's heard loud and clear that the city council is not going to continue to play games and move the chess pieces around the board. He defaulted on 3 items. He's well aware of what those items now. Staff will continue to work with him. He's got a certain time limit now to cure those 3 defaults, and we'll continue to hold him to the fire and make sure that he delivers on these timelines. Or he has a lot that he can lose, and we're not going to continue to let these developers hold our neighbors and our neighborhoods ransom for who knows what their long-term goal is. So that's development. You may have heard Christine Nome has got a video out there that she's asking to be played at airports across the country, and it's in my opinion and others, it's a political statement that is being made. And there's no place for a federal employee to be making a political statement, let alone asking us to show it at our airport. So it will not be shown at our airport. And thanks to the city manager for jumping on that this morning and making sure of that. Big unveiling of an civil rights art sculpture that's going to be donated to the city on Friday morning. Thank you, Mike. We just went through this. On Friday morning at 10 a.m., local artist Jim Eiserman created this civil rights monument, and that sculpture is going to be donated to the city's public arts inventory on Friday morning at 10 o'clock. We invite everybody to come out for that dedication. It's going to be a nice piece of art added to the city's collection at a time when cities around the world, especially in the United States, are trying to make members of the LGBTQ community invisible. Palm Springs is embracing all our people in the community, all our residents, and putting front and center this civil rights sculpture that sends a message very loud and clear that Palm Springs is a welcoming, accepting city, and that we welcome everybody to Palm Springs.
Where does this take place? Where will that be?
It's at Francis Stevens Park, Alejo and Indian Canyon. Don't go look at it yet. Wait till Friday. If you drive by, look the other way. See, it's a surprise.
Close your eyes.
All right.
Ron, there's one development that you missed that's been stalled. and-
Probably on purpose.
Yeah, probably. It's almost 25 years, so we're talking a quarter of a century now. The historical Racket Club property.
Oh, yeah, that's
Canyon.
it. Well, why did you ask Jeffrey that?
You brought up the topic, so.
And actually, I really don't know where that sits today, so Jeffrey is the right person to give us an update on that one.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else before Jeffrey comes back up? Yes.
Yeah, speaking about the money that Rothschild is looking for to jump into the developer, which then kicks off the project. Does anybody know how big is that pot? Is it 5 million, 50 million, 500 million? What's the scale here?
Oh, no, it's 250, 275. It's 250, 275 million. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So just to mention on Racket Club, I kept talking about there was a good buyer on board, and there is now a new broker. So the new broker I met with, he has actually been friends with the owners. So he is convincing them they need to move on it. He is a Palm Springs resident, which is also good because it wasn't being sold by somebody who lived here. So I've met with him. He's coming in to meet with the city manager, our code compliance, economic development, and our city attorney to talk about, first of all, for us to give him all the requirements they need to do. I will tell you on to get this sold, as well as the incentives for a historic thing. And that's something that is coming back, I think, on council. I think it might be this year, is we're looking at our hotel incentive program. And the one thing we want to do is, obviously, Orchid Tree, as the mayor mentioned, got huge benefits. But for someone like the Racket Club, they should get a historic benefit, a tax benefit, if they are going to restore that building. So at the same time, Preservation, Palm Springs ModCom has a concerted effort and legal effort from their team to address that property, the Town and Country, and the Orchid Tree from a legal point of view of them being demolition by neglect in this process. So I think the heat is stepping up on all of these. I don't know about Racket Club. And the interesting thing, when I spoke to this broker, he says, you know, they just had bad advice from their broker. They didn't know their broker was a friend of theirs. They were trying to help, and they got stuck with a property they don't want, but they just want to get their money out and retire. And never should have been in that business. So we're hopeful again, and at least this broker is making himself available to talk to us. The other one never did. So that's, we're hopeful.
Some other cities, for example, Los Angeles, in cases like this, what they've started doing is the city's been taking them over by eminent domain, leveling them, and turning them into land parcels for affordable housing projects.
Well, historic property is a little bit harder to level.
Yeah.
I mean, although Racket Club has a lot of things, there's also receivership. And the city, I think we did one last year on a house, and I think a couple years ago in El Rancho Vista Estates, we did receivership. And it's basically, once you've got, and Mitch is here somewhere, I mean, he can probably talk more with than I can, but you know, you go through all the code compliance issues, and at a certain point, the city can take it over and restore it and sell it, and then you basically take the sale price, give it to the owner, less what you paid to restore it.
Still takes years.
Takes years.
Yeah.
But at this point, you know, this is why having some legal pressure from outside may also help us as well.
Because we're a quarter century into this.
Yep.
almost now.
Yep, and it's decaying rapidly and a nuisance.
So,
Okay.
What property are we talking
The historic Racket Club on Indian Canyon, but it was the old Racket Club where Marilyn Monroe is discovered. It's got historic buildings on it, some of which are dilapidated. Our prior council to us, I think they made the swimming pool, which doesn't exist, historic. Did they do? And it's a little bit, so there's one really good building, some other smaller buildings, but there's a ton of property there. I mean, you could have condos, a hotel, and the Racket Club there. So, I mean, it's a lot of property. And you'll see, but we saw that the one that's being done in Rocket Club and Palm Canyon, housing building in Rocket Club is going to happen. One other thing I forgot to mention was on tomorrow, we have the dedication for the flowers from San Miguel. I don't know if people have seen it. It's on Museum Way. They have paid for it. So they brought it to our city. It's here through November. It's an artist from San Miguel. It's a beautiful part of our cultural exchange. The mayor and I were in San Miguel in June, and this was when their mayor talked to our mayor and me. It was a big important to them to have their presence here. It obviously beautifies our city for a little while, and it's a great part of our cultural exchange, which also includes education and culinary and business. And then there is also, if anybody wants to know, a fundraiser for our Sister City Committee on Sunday at the Velvet Rope. Our Sister City Committee is a nonprofit organization, and none of this is really funded by the city, any of the efforts on it. So look on the Palm Springs Sister City website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. City Manager, we'll have you. Anything we forgot?
There's not much.
There is not much they left for me to talk about. Denise did kick me in the shin. She said, talk fast. The Dodgers' first pitch is like right now. So she said, Scott, just shut up and talk fast and get off. I'm like, okay, Denise, I don't know who's working for who. We do have a lot of projects going on. Jeffrey and Ron both talked about libraries and Fire Station 1. We're about a month and a half out from opening up the Plaza Theater. So it looks beautiful inside. They're still, I don't know how they're going to get it done, but they are. But it's going to be tremendous when it's opened up. So we're very excited about that. I was going to mention San Miguel. I was fortunate enough to join the mayor and Jeffrey, and the work that they do down there at our sister city is pretty outstanding. Just a couple other things, and where our new special events director Jose's got his work cut out for him. He's just arriving in Palm Springs in September. Get ready, brother. It's coming at you. So we have just a couple things I want to mention. I can't remember if the council members mentioned, we are having a CV Link grand opening celebration on November 7th. That's at the Visitor Center at 3 p.m. So, you know, it's a great, healthy amenity for us to move around our city in. It's going to be great. The Coachella Valley Filipino Festival will be on November 15th, and I think that's at the downtown park. The mayor mentioned the State of the City speech, and I know our staff has been working very closely with him on all of that. Can't remember if anybody mentioned, we have our Pride Equality Walk. Used to be the formerly the DAP Walk. That's coming up. It's going to be at Ruth Hardy Park on October 25th. I think it's from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m.
It's Arenas.
Oh, it's on Arenas? It starts in Arenas?
Yeah, it's on Arenas.
And we're the
Palm Canyon. Arenas to Francis Stevens, back to Arenas.
There you go. Everybody hear that? Okay. So that's all happening. Tomorrow is tomorrow the Palm Springs High School Homecoming Parade downtown. We talked about the Aloe Palm Canyon grand opening. They did a beautiful job of it. It really looks nice, and it's a great example of affordable housing can be beautiful housing, and it's a great amenity. We're already working with helping to get people in there, and it's a development group out of West Hollywood that's just done a tremendous job. Really happy about that. Fall Modernism Week, I don't know did we mention that? If we didn't, that's this 1016, coming up this week. Okay. And I think that's all for me. I'm done. Thank you. Yeah. The CV link is, yes.
The visitor center.
CV link, November 7th, 3 p.m. at the visitor center. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, moving along. I think we're on time, Denise, so. So I'd like to introduce a friend who hasn't been here in a long time. Come on, Mike. Mike Thompson from the center is coming to welcome back.
Sir, sure. Thank you. Good evening, and Denise, I checked time, first pitch is in a minute and a half, and I can't promise that I'll be finished by then, but good evening, my name is Mike Thompson. I'm the CEO of the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert, commonly known as the Center. We are members of the Old Las Palmas Neighborhood Association. We're at 1301 North Palm Canyon, immediately north of Denny's. And so I appreciate the invitation to be here this evening. And I just wanted to, when I was talking to Denise about coming, she said, well, what do you want to talk about? And I said, I think our overlap, the work that you do in your neighborhoods, really is very similar to the work that we do at the center, and that is creating community, right? And so we create these connection points. So the goal then is community. And I talk a lot in my work that oftentimes when people move to our desert communities, Palm Springs specifically, we can so easily confuse proximity with community. Right? We live in the same neighborhood. We live in the same zip code. We live in the same city. It doesn't mean we are in community with each other. That just means we share space with one another. So if we are really interested in building community, then we need to take seriously the connection points that we then create for our neighborhoods and for our community. And the way that we do that at the center is through, Jeffrey, and I appreciate the food drive. Jeffrey referenced Find Food Bank and the work that they do. Our community food bank, which is at 2901 East Alejo. We actually lease that warehouse from the city. So we appreciate the city manager and the council working with us to move in there. We were previously on Belardo for many years. There we served 250 households a week through our Thursday food distribution. Since moving to this new warehouse, we're now at 400 households a week. And so our neighbors need access to food, right? Many people think of our communities as highly privileged communities. And while that might be true in some neighborhoods, it is not true in every neighborhood. So we need to make sure that people in our community that need access to food have it, and that happens at our community food bank. So if you have neighbors that are food insecure and need an access point, then reach out to the center and we'll make sure that they get food on Thursdays. We have a supplemental food program also for seniors. It's a monthly supplemental food box that they get. That's a pass-through from Find Food Bank. And so in addition to our community food bank, we have our Scott Hines Behavioral Health Clinic, where last month, between individual therapy and group therapy, we had nearly 600 therapeutic engagements to make sure that people in our community that need behavioral health support get it, another connection point to build community. And I'll tell you, one of the most important and wildly popular, sadly, group therapies is that we started it a year ago, August, an election anxiety support group that is still wildly popular post-election, because the state of the world has many people feeling vulnerable. And when we're vulnerable, we often isolate, and isolation is dangerous. So we need connection points like we offer at the center. In fact, one of our responses to the explosion in May was we provided free group therapy support for anyone impacted by the explosion. So we had a number of people that were either in Denny's or in the Worldmark building when the explosion happened were coming to therapy sessions at the center to get support from folks. And so our overall engagements at the center last fiscal year, we're on a July 1 to June 30 fiscal year, 85,000 engagements. And that was up 38% over the previous year. Our first 3 months in, which are our slowest 3 months, we're already up 22% over last year. So the state of this world that we're living in today, people need connection points. And so that's your work in your neighborhoods. That's the work of the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert. And that's how we go from just being in proximity with each other to actually being in community with each other, is understanding what the needs are, extending our hand to meet that need, but beyond that, creating the relationships that create connection that then build community. So thank you so much for your work. If you have neighbors that could benefit from the support of the center, we're here for you. Our web address is thecentercv.org. And then it's also important for us to meet needs. We need to understand needs. So on the back counter, we just launched a quality of life survey for LGBTQ identifying residents of the Coachella Valley. This is the most extensive. We are surveying of the categories that make up the social determinants of health, the World Health Organization social determinants of health. So we are surveying to determine what people's lived experiences in the Coachella Valley are. So if you have LGBTQ identifying neighbors, make them aware of this, because we want to make sure that we understand the needs of our community so we can then meet them. So thank you so much for the great work you're doing. Thank you for, yes, Chris, but thank you for the invitation to be here.
Always. Given the food desert status we have in the north end, have you considered maybe a satellite food distribution area?
Yeah, we're always limited by capacity, right? And so one of the things that we're looking into is how can we get food to people that need it, and whether that is a satellite location or volunteer delivery, but that's the insurance issues. But we want to make sure we understand where those needs are, and can we partner with Find to then be able to get to places that we're not currently able to. Any other questions for me? Happy to answer them if so. If not, Mike at thecentercv.org. I welcome any questions or input anytime. Thank you so much.
All right, our next speaker is Mitch from Code Compliance. Oh, there you are. You're hiding. Welcome.
Got it? Okay.
Chris, while we're waiting, are there any neighborhoods looking at forming right now? Any updates on any of that?
None we've heard of. But Midtown's be right for, the Greeks throw one to initiate.
Well, Midtown already exists, the bylaws already exist, it's inactive. Right. There just aren't people to run it. And that happens with the neighborhoods, they fluctuate, leadership changes. We can fill in the map 2 ways, administratively or kumbaya method. And I think we could give some focus to that. When he's ready, I'll shut up. I think he's ready.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Mitch Nabhan. I'm the code compliance supervisor here for our city. I joined you guys a couple of years ago along with my colleague David Arezzo at the time. We were dual supervisors. How many of you were in the room for that presentation? Great. So since then, David's moved on and I oversee all of our city's enforcement programs. So code compliance, vacation rentals, cannabis enforcement, all that good stuff. So I was asked today to come in and just give a brief overview to help you guys understand the process of what happens when you guys submit a reported concern, what that looks like from our perspective, how we resolve it. So put together a brief presentation of understanding the code compliance process from community concerns to city resolutions. I got a little helper with me. He's gonna join us throughout the slideshow presentation. That's Matt Schnitten. That's my information there. If you need to get a hold of me, my email, my phone number, that'll also show up at the end of the presentation. So what happens after I report in a concern? So the goals of this presentation are, again, to help demystify how reported concerns are handled by the city from the initial report to resolution. We'll work through the life cycle of a reported concern, intake, inspections, resolution types, enforcement types, understand the available reporting options that we have, how to access the city provided compliance resources. We have a pretty robust city webpage. Has anybody been on our code compliance webpage recently? We'll walk through that. We've added some new things in the last month or so that we're particularly excited about. And then understand your role as an engaged citizen in supporting our city's compliance efforts and preserving our neighborhood quality. So reporting a concern, if you didn't already know, these are some of the methods that we have available. So online portals, these are our preferred methods. So you can submit your concerns by category. The preferred option is through the city app. How many of you guys have the My Palm Springs app on your smartphone, whether it's an iPhone, Android? I think they're both compatible. So the three categories that we mostly deal with there are the icons, code compliance, leaf blowers, vacation rentals. I get, every time you submit a reported concern, I actually get an email. I see every single one of those. So whatever you type in that reported concern thing, I see comes directly to me. So, you know, again, remember that when you know, again, you're frustrated, you're angry, you're passionate about this, you know, this neighbor, this ongoing thing, and you're just taking it out on that keyboard. I am going to read it, whatever time it is. If you send it in at 11 o'clock, more than likely I'm going to see it on my phone. I'm going to read it at 11 o'clock. I'm going to be like, ooh, Paul's having a bad night today. We also have an email option through the code compliance request email. That's a less popular option. So that actually only goes to two people. That goes to myself directly and my code admin, Janine. If any of you have called into the code compliance hotline via our phone reporting options, you may have spoken to one of two people, either Janine or myself. We are one of the two people who answer those phones during city business hours. So phone reporting, so we have the code compliance hotline that is available 24 hours a day during city business hours, which are Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 5:30. We will generally answer the phone. So whether it's Janine, my code admin, or myself, if I see the phone ringing when I'm at my desk and I'm not already on the phone with somebody else, we make every effort possible to try and answer the phone and engage with you and talk with you and try and understand what your concern is. If we don't answer the phone, it will go to a voicemail. Please leave a detailed message, leave your contact information. When those voice messages come through, we also get an email notification with that voicemail. We listen to that. And that also gets forwarded along to the code compliance team, which we'll get into what that process looks like in the next slide. We also have the vacation rental hotline available. Again, if you have concerns specifically for active disturbances at registered vacation rental properties, that phone line is available 24 hours a day. That goes to a third-party dispatching center. They'll then get some information from you and we'll forward that along to our on-call vacation rental enforcement officers. If both of those hotlines are down, and the online portals aren't working, we also have the police non-emergency line. They don't like it when I tell them, or when I tell you guys to call them, but they do have access to who is on call for code compliance. So ultimately, if you can't get a hold of us through any of our other reporting avenues, feel free to call them and then they can forward the information over to our team and we can still get you a timely response. We also accept in-person submissions. So the code compliance team is a division of the Office of Special Program Compliance. So we're located at what's commonly referred to as the City Yard Complex. So it's just down the street from City Hall, located at 425 North Civic Drive. So we do have lobby hours. We're open during normal city business hours. So Monday through Thursday from 7:30 to 5:30. If you want to submit a reported concern in person, you're more than welcome to come into the office lobby and either speak with our admin, who's generally there right at the lobby, or if she's not there, they'll call me up and I'll greet you and we'll jot down some information. All right, so what it looks like when we get a reported concern, what that intake process looks like. So there's an initial review. So we log the reported concern. So from whatever medium you report, so whether it's through the online portal or you call in through the code compliance hotline or you do an in-person submission, we log the report. We verify the address and location. We determine if the reported concern is within the scope of our enforcement responsibility. Sometimes people report in criminal violations. Those are not something that necessarily that code compliance can help with. So that initial review is typically done either by myself or our code admin, Janine. We also categorize the issue. So, is it a property maintenance concern? Is it an active nuisance? Is it a non-active nuisance? Is it noise related? So, again, we're kind of looking at that. And then from there, we triage it by urgency. So again, that's similarly, we prioritize it based on potential risk. So what is the impact that this is going to have on public safety? Again, active versus non-active nuisance. Is it time sensitive? Higher priority issues, it's like a building that's about to fall down, a dangerous vehicle that is about to, run over somebody, or is on private property that's about to enter the public right-of-way, is going to receive a faster response. From there, reported concerns are routed to a code officer based on geographic zones, workload, and specialty. So, again, within our code compliance team, we have officers that are, they have different responsibilities. So we have officers that are specifically assigned to vacation rental enforcement. We have an officer that's specifically assigned to cannabis enforcement. We have officers assigned to general building and safety and public nuisance abatement. And so depending on which category those reported concerns are falling into, depending on who's available at the time, depending on the urgency of the reported issue, plays a large part in who is going to get dispatched to respond to that reported issue. For the most part, the officers that work your general property maintenance cases or zoning issues is divided amongst 4 primary code compliance officers that work geographic zones. So those boundary lines typically run from east to west. So we have an officer that's assigned to the south, 2 officers that are assigned to the central sections of our city, and an officer that's assigned to the northern section of our city. We also have an officer that is assigned to assist the police department on the impact team. She also works as the primary officer responsible for our vacant building enforcement and monitoring program. So within our team of officers, a lot of different people have a lot of different roles and a lot of different specialties. The role of a code compliance officer is very broad. If you look at our code, I have a physical copy of our city's adopted municipal code. It's probably about this thick. And if you look at the version online, it's many, many, many pages. So there's a lot of things to review, a lot of things to know. And the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, most of us know, but some of the less common instances, it does take us some time to review. And again, sometimes it does take a specialized response specific to a certain officer. So once it's assigned to the applicable officer, they are going to conduct an additional review. So they're going to review the specific details of the reported concern and how that may conflict with the applicable codes. They may follow up with the reporting party if you've left your reporting party information on how you reported it, and obtain additional information, coordinate property access if it's made available, and review the compliance history at the report address. Sometimes that plays a factor in determining how we're going to approach compliance. Sometimes that plays a factor in how who to contact, the success we've had with obtaining compliance in the past. The assigned officer will visit the property to assess the conditions. We take photographs, we document the conditions, and we compare them to our relevant codes. And then the code officer applies our city's adopted codes and zoning rules to determine whether or not a violation exists and what, if any, correction action is needed. Determining violation status is next. So if there is no violation found, so the officer goes out there, does their investigation, takes their photos, no violation. The reporting party, if the reporting party has requested a callback or a follow-up message, the code officer will call or draft a message at this time notifying them of their findings. So if you had submitted a report of concern over our city's online portals, so the RattleTech system or the Savita app system, it allows for us to engage in some messaging back and forth. So at this time, after the officer has gone out to do the inspection, if they find that the conditions observed are not in violation, we will typically send you a message saying, hey, we arrived at this time, this is what we found, this is the action that we took, it's not in violation. At that point, we're going to close out the work order, and you're going to get, a message stating that, and then you're also going to receive a message saying that, hey, thank you for your engagement. This, issue is now considered resolved. If a violation is confirmed, the code officer will develop a corrective action plan and a timeline for compliance. They'll commence an initial attempt to engage with the property owner or the applicable responsible person. Sometimes this is what we call a knock and talk. So we may go up to the front door, especially if it looks like the home is occupied, and see if anybody's there and try and engage with that, particular homeowner or the resident and try and find out what's going on. If the reporting party has requested a callback or a follow-up message, the code officer will generally call or draft a message notifying them of their findings and the enforcement action taken. So at this point, if you've reported on the online portals or work order has been created, we may also close it out as resolved at this time with a note saying, hey, thank you. This is what we found. We are opening a code case. At that point, if you want further updates, I encourage you to engage with the officer via that messaging thread. Say, thank you for looking into this. Please keep me updated as your case kind of progresses. So even though you see that, the issue says that it's closed, it doesn't necessarily mean that our enforcement ends at that moment. That's just more of a procedural step for our process. How's compliance obtained? So the preferred path to a resolution, so our goal whenever possible is to achieve voluntary compliance, right? Working collaboratively with property owners and residents to resolve violations. We prioritize education and cooperation with property owners and residents to resolve violations. Recognizing that most issues can be corrected through simple actions once an owner is made aware. In the majority of our cases, the approach eliminates the need for further enforcement options. So the large majority of the cases that we find in violation that we commence corrective action on get resolved within the courtesy notice period. Almost, I think it's like 84% in the last 2 years of the cases that we've done. So again, that voluntary compliance, that initial compliance period typically consists of a written notice issued. So the property owners receive a formal notice detailing violation, the code references, the corrective action required, and compliance timelines, right? So it's a courtesy notice. Has anybody in here ever received a courtesy notice? Sometimes it can be a little threatening. The language, again, it's legalese, it's very deliberate. It's, again, we try our best to use please and all that in the forms that we do have editability, but a lot of it is dictated by the city attorney's office. Well, if you haven't seen it, again, it's a form letter. It's got the city seal on it. The very first line underneath the city seal says courtesy notice. So that, again, it's not a citation. It's not a notice of violation letter. It's a courtesy notice advising you that a violation does exist on your property and requesting compliance. The standard compliance period for most violations under our municipal code is 15 days under a courtesy notice or pre-citation period. However, in cases where violations pose a heightened severity or present an immediate risk to health and safety, more prompt corrective action may be required. So within our municipal code, there are some things that require more immediate correction. Infraction penalties require immediate correction, things like issues related to violations for noise. However, there is some discretion for a warning on that. And then for health and safety issues, things like living conditions, substandard structures, there's a shorter compliance period of 7 days. But for the majority of our city's adopted municipal code violations, it's a 15-day correction period for an initial courtesy notice. And then compliance re-inspections of code officers will return after the compliance deadline to verify whether the violations have been corrected and documented accordingly. And like I said, in most cases, the voluntary compliance, this path is what our officers are seeing. What happens when voluntary compliance fails? So I think there's some mention of it a little bit earlier in the meeting. So the enforcement mechanisms that are available to our city. So we have administrative citations, right? So these are fines that are issued for non-compliance after the initial courtesy notice or pre-citation period. Amounts can vary by violation type. So they escalate in severity depending on the type, the amount. They start at $100. They can be as much as a $5,000 fine for a first offense, and they can increase as much as $25,000 for a third offense. We also have correction orders. These are formal mandates requiring specific actions within a set time frame, often followed by court proceedings if ignored. So these are formal notices sent from the city attorney's office stating, like, again, we're not messing around here. So this is after you've been fined. We've sent multiple notices of violations and people still aren't correcting. And then this generally, what follows after a correction order is pursuit of abatement proceedings. So that's involuntary compliance. So that's when the city will come onto your property and correct the issue and send you a bill for it. Some other options for involuntary compliance are the receivership route. Again, that's a complicated legal process. It has to be, obviously, it has to be approved by city council before we engage in that. It has to ultimately be signed off by a judge. And that's, again, those present their own unique challenges. As you know, land in this country is very valuable, and more specifically, land in Palm Springs is very valuable, and people do not want to give it up easily, even if you think that nobody's paying attention to it. As soon as you start sending these formal notices to somebody who doesn't live anywhere around here, all of a sudden they start coming out of the woodwork. It's like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? You're trying to do what? I don't think so. Over what? Offense? Let me put that up. And then, again, we get, it goes into the next slide. We'll kind of talk about how these things kind of meander through the compliance timeline, how there's some partial compliance and how these things kind of linger. But ultimately, the city does have a method for abating dangerous conditions or these recurring violations. The city does have a process for receivership. Again, that is an extreme step. That's essentially the city is going and taking your property from you. The judge is saying, assigning somebody to go in and fix your property, giving them authority to sell it, and then obviously whatever they sell it for, you get made whole for whatever it costs for materials and labor it took for you to repair it. And then if there's anything left, you get whatever's left. If there's nothing left, you get nothing for a home that you owned or maybe you owned for a long time. So it's a very extreme step. It's a step that we try to avoid at all costs, but obviously we understand there are cases that warrant it. But again, I think voluntary compliance is the way to go. I think Councilmember Bernstein had mentioned we have gone the route of receivership a few times, and we've had some successful stories with some homeowners who just didn't have the capacity to be able to make those changes. Unfortunately, again, we got some properties that were cleaned up, brought some good outcomes to some of those neighbors. After those correction orders comes liens and fees. So unresolved violations can lead to fees that are added to tax bills. Liens or special assessments recorded against the property, right? So if I come in and abate your property because you can't afford to chop down your tree, so I've given you plenty of opportunities to do it voluntarily, and we go through the abatement process, and I hire my contractor to do it, and then I tack on the city attorney fees, which are oftentimes double or triple the total costs. I'm going to send you an invoice. You're going to say, wow, it would have only cost me this much to do it. Now you're sending me a bill for 20 grand. I can't pay that. And I'm going to say, yeah, I know. I don't blame you. And trust me, I do not feel good about these. It's not a fun thing to do. I'm laughing because I'm nervous, not because I think it's funny. It's not fun. But again, in those cases, the city does need to recoup our costs because we did hire folks. We did hire folks to do the work. We did have staff put their time and effort to pursue this correction, so the city does need to be made whole. In that case, if a property owner can't pay it, they'll be given every opportunity to come up with a payment plan. But ultimately, if they fail that, we will place that as either a lien or a special assessment. Again, special assessments have to be signed off by city council, and that'll get recorded against the property and will ultimately get recouped if the property once the property sells. And then severe or repeated violations may result in legal proceedings before a municipal judge or a hearing officer. So you could actually get prosecuted and could potentially go to jail if you have these recurring issues. So in my experience, I've been with the city since 2019. I've had 2 cases that have gone to civil court for somebody who, again, failed to adhere to our notices and just continued to operate in violation despite repeated attempts to gain compliance. Once they finally went to judge, they got put on formal probationary terms from that judge. So they avoided jail time, but they had some pretty severe probationary terms that were placed on by the judge. The judge did not find it very funny in the end. And so yeah, the other one ultimately got dismissed. I think we finally settled eventually. But again, I think that took like 4 years. It was a very long process. So when we're talking about these are, again, very, very severe penalties. It takes a lot of time and effort, and they're very specific instances that, again, it does not happen a lot. Monitoring re-inspections and case closure. So ensuring compliance and finalizing cases, right? So following up, follow-up inspection. So after compliance deadlines, code officers revisit properties to assess progress. We document the changes. We escalate cases if needed. Verification of corrections. So resolve violations are confirmed through visual inspection and photographic evidence. Supporting transparency and accountability. So all of that's documented in our compliance tracking software. So when they got there, what they saw, all of that's tracked. Partial compliance. So if some issues are corrected, but others persist, updated notices may be issued with extended deadlines or new fines. So every time a property is sold, again, the compliance timeline kind of resets because that new owner is then given an opportunity to kind of make good. They're made aware of what exists, and they're given new timelines to kind of come into compliance. And then formal case closure. So once all violations are addressed, the case is closed in our compliance tracking software and is archived for future reference. So, again, we can always refer to a case, and then if a violation recurs within a 12-month period, we can reopen that case. We'll send an initial courtesy notice, and then if it's not corrected within there, we can pick up our enforcement within that same path that it left off within that 12 months. So from there, just gonna pull up. Sorry, I only had 10 minutes, but I went a little bit longer than that. So this is our website. So if you haven't been on there recently, it's just a couple of things that my director wanted us to point out. So this is specifically our code compliance page. It's located within the special program compliance departmental page. So all of our code compliance reporting is located here under this tab on the sub menu. So from here, you can look and see all the current open code cases. So this gets updated. I believe it's updated every other week. So this is everything that's open. Obviously, you have addresses, you have the case type, the status. So if again, this is just proactively placed on the website. So this is there. Is anybody's house on there?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Question. I noticed the same name pops up quite a bit.
Oh, the officer?
One vexatious violator.
No. So these are code case assigned to. These are my officers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in violation all the time.
Yeah. So again, we talked about my officers who work code case work that are working geographic zones. So you're going to see that Kimberly Bowman, Officer Bowman, she works typically in the southern end. We have Officer Arlo Bermudo, he's more central. Officer Jason Whitaker is more central. Officer Wade, who is working up north. And then now more recently, we have Officer Keogh, Jean-Marie. She recently took over the northern section, kind of Vistachino, north of Vistachino, all those neighborhoods. So the case assigned to, those are my code compliance officers who are working those cases. not the violators. And then further down here under calendar year, we categorize every single week's reports received. There's typically a 1 or 2 week delay depending on how many reports received, workload. So my code admin Janine will facilitate this report and upload to the website. So everything you report or call in to the code hotline that we log gets inputted here. So word for word. So if you're calling in and you talk to me and you're frustrated and you're upset, I am typically, especially me, I'm known to do this to my fault. I will type exactly what you say. Some of my colleagues find it funny, but again, I'm not doing it to be funny. I'm doing it to accurately reflect the public record. So if you're putting down there that like the noise is so loud that my house is literally shaking, I'm going to put the RP said the noise is so loud that my house is literally shaking. Again, I want to put what you're reporting. And then, for the reports that you fill out online, you yourself through the online portal, those will automatically filter in through here. So you'll see the date and the time on this first column. This is the work order associated with it. This is generally what the reported concern was. The address, the category. This right here is who it was assigned to, which officer it was assigned to respond to it, and then their notes as far as the action that they took, what their findings were relative to that. So that's all there. So every single week, all the reported concerns categorized by year. So that is here under the Code Compliance Reports tab. And then one last thing I wanted to show is the under the noise ordinance here. This was a new addition that we recently put. So there's been a lot of talk recently about the noise ordinance with some of the special events we've had and some of the challenges we've had at some of our event-related noise. So we put a lot of information, a lot of time and effort on this. So again, there's definitions, there's the different noise level limits, there's a section on loud and unusual noise. So if you click on this, I believe it'll link directly to, let's hope it works, directly to our municipal code section that talks specifically about that. What's that? Okay, sorry. Boom, it worked. All right, perfect. So that's all there on our website. We have to wrap up, but it's all there. And then we also have a special events recap. So we're going to do these. Obviously, the Splash House events are big weekend events. We have Pride event coming up. We will similarly do special event recaps. They can be found here on this noise. It's going to be on the noise ordinance section here on the submenu for code compliance. So that's all the time I have. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
A lot of information. All right, we're going to reorder the agenda just a touch. 15 minutes and 8 reports. I hear police. I'm not going to argue with a cop. He's texting me, I want to go now.
Very wise man. Very wise man. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hopefully good. Actually, I have another event I'm going to go to at 6 o'clock. I don't know if you guys know our Do the Right Thing program where we recognize our young adults, our children. Dr. Terry Kettle is being recognized by the Palm Springs Unified School District. She's receiving an award, so I'm going to be going there at 6. She's awesome. But a few things I did want to provide updates on. First thing, thank you for everybody that went to support us for our downtown office opening. It was a great event, well attended. So thank you for that. So the business hours for the downtown office, we're going to start off right now. It's going to be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So it's going to be open specifically for people that if they have issues, they can walk into the office. It'll be open, so it'll be pretty cool. The other thing I wanted to touch on was Mongols weekend. You guys knew we had the Mongols annual run. We had a lot of help from different departments, Riverside sheriffs, district attorneys, investigators, different gang detectives from the Coachella Valley, and it paid dividends for us. We ended up making like 17 arrests, and 7 of those were related to firearms and even a shotgun. Most of them were drugs or drug paraphernalia. So we set the tone on that Friday come in that we're not going to mess around and we're not going to allow the criminal behavior, specifically any violence. And it was a job, it was a mission that was successful. So that was great. Thank you. Thank you. The other news, if you guys have been watching, there's going to be a new, No Kings Rally. That's going to be happening on Saturday, the 18th. It's going to be all over the valley, specifically in Palm Springs. We're going to have 2 locations. One's at 3. Is it 3?
4.
Maybe
4 to
4?
6.
There's gonna be one big one.
Okay, so I know what I want to say is we're gonna have, so at Sunrise and East Palm Canyon at 9 to 10:30, at the intersection, there's gonna be a group there. And then the big one is gonna be at Sunrise Park at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's at Sunrise Park. There's gonna be well over 1,000 people there.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, now it's 5,000? Oh, you're scaring me. I'm just, I wasn't here today. I just got here this afternoon.
There's already 2,500 registered.
Okay. Well, you guys have more intel on that. I didn't touch bases with my partners, but thank you. Appreciate that. So it's going to be a big rally. We'll be working that as well. Last but not least, we had some concerned community members about the Navigation Center and issues with homelessness, as well as providing updates. So I have just finished organizing today. I will put out to the entire community. We're going to host a community meeting here October 27th at 5:30 p.m. We're going to have representatives from Martha's Village and Kitchen to specifically provide an update and answer questions or concerns that you guys might have. I invite everybody to come out. We'll be here, the PD. We're also going to have representatives from the city. Jay Verada, he's the Director of Housing and Community Development. He'll be here as well. Community member Grace Garner, Councilmember Garner will be here as well. So it'll start at 5:30 and we're here to provide an update and answer questions.
On the 27th?
27th at 5:30, right here at the PD Training Center.
Are you just calling that navigation community meeting?
Yeah.
Just put it- Okay.
Thank you, Denise.
Sure.
And that's it. Thank you.